Duran Premium Cigars, one of the fastest growing boutique cigar companies, providing smokers a portal into the old Cuban tradition of perfect balance and the lost art of progressive flavor construction. Roberto Pelayo Duran began his career in tobacco over 2 decades ago in Havana, where his reputation grew within Cuban circles. The creation of Duran Premium Cigars has given Roberto the platform to introduce a series of cigars that offer the same quality, construction, and detail which he perfected while in Cuba. Brands include the ultra-premium Roberto P. Duran Premium Cigar Series, Azan Cigars, Nea, and Baracoa. Duran Cigars uses a seed-to-humidor approach, as all tobacco is grown in their farms and rolled in their factory in Estelí, Nicaragua. Rollers have been carefully chosen to carry out Roberto's precise method to ensure progressive flavor in each cigar. Duran Cigars invites you to make their premium your standard. Experience the world through the eyes of an icon with the new Macanudo Inspirado line. Created for a global palate, Macanudo Inspirado defies convention. Handcrafted with the world's finest tobaccos, Inspirado delivers a unique international smoking experience. Find Inspirado Orange at fine tobaccos everywhere and Inspirado Black online and in your favorite catalogs. Ready to be inspired? Check out Macanudo Inspirado now at macanudo.com. CAO has brought you iconic cigars over the years. Brasilia, Italia, La Traviata, done in a playful nature with a unique twist. Travel to the exciting world of CAO and back in just under an hour with any of the groundbreaking CAO World Blends. Test the boundaries of style with new age brands in the 95 rated Flathead. Honor the past with new classics like Pilon. Treat your palate to an array of flavors with Soulfire and Moon Trance. At CAO, the experiences are limitless. So what's your next move?
Hey, Paul, what's up?
What's up, Mark?
Did you hear about the new cigar that's coming out?
Which one is that? There's like 800 new ones every week.
The one with the Connecticut broadleaf wrapper.
Oh, really? I love Connecticut broadleaf. Who makes it?
I think it's Nicaraguan.
So Nicaraguan binder and filler, or it's made in a factory in Nicaragua?
I always have to Google these, and it's taken me like an hour to find out what it is.
If this is a frequent conversation with your cigar buddies, look no further than Stogie Geeks News, the only cigar news podcast on the internet. Will Cooper, the man behind cigar-coop.com, and Paul Asadorian from the Stogie Geeks produce a weekly show covering the latest cigar news, new blends, cigar manufacturer announcements, and more. Subscribe to the video version on YouTube or get the audio version in your favorite podcast catcher. Head on over to stogienews.tv to subscribe today.
Every new blend borrows from the past, and the Saga Blend No. 7, it is the perfect combination of timeless knowledge of traditional tobaccos and the newer balance that today's cigar enthusiasts come to expect and love in a fine cigar. Leveraging 6 generations of experience and tradition of the Reyes family, the Saga Blend No. 7 delivers a unique, full-flavored, medium-bodied cigar. The cigar is highlighted by a Brazilian wrapper over a blend of Central American and Dominican tobacco. Available in 3 sizes at an affordable price, the Saga Blend No. 7 is sure to please and bring together past and present.
Rocky Patel Premium Cigars. The era of elegance continues as they celebrate 20 years of creating iconic cigars, delivering nothing short of magnificent. The Rocky Patel 20th Anniversary Cigar line follows the lineage of the Rocky Patel Decade and 15th Anniversary. 4 years in the making, it's a masterfully crafted cigar. The blend combines fillers from Estelí and Jalapa, Nicaragua, as well as Yamastran, Honduras. Encompassed in an elegant Honduran wrapper, this box-pressed beauty is soon to be legendary. The Rocky Patel 20th Anniversary, the era of elegance continues. For more information, visit them on the web at rockypatel.com and be sure to follow Rocky Patel Premium Cigars on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
And now we're back. Welcome back, everyone, to the Stogie Geeks Show. I'm your host, Paul Astorian, joined by Mr. Will Cooper to talk about our Stogies of the week. And I've got an update, Will, on the Don Bernardo that I've been talking about so highly.
So I got to admit, I was listening to the show this week. I'm not very familiar with that. I've heard of them, but I'm not very familiar with the line.
A little more background on the story. There were 2 guys, and they had a different philosophy about whether to sell them brick and mortar or online. The guy that wanted online kind of took it over and is distributing them online only. through their website and other people's websites, and it's specifically like how manufacturers will say this is a brick and mortar only release. He's got an online only release, and that's how he's selling his cigars.
But he's selling direct to consumer, right?
Direct to consumer online, and then he sells to other online shops, and they sell it exclusively online. Or if he's selling to a brick and mortar, they can only sell it online, which is kind of interesting. It's kind of the opposite approach, which I think is just interesting distribution strategy, whatever. The more interesting part is he sources his tobacco from the Dominican, and I don't remember which factory. I'm trying to figure out which factory it's coming from. They're all, for our listeners, if you see these, they're all very good. And there's multiple different releases. This is his more recent release. That is Dominican, is all I know about it. It's called Don Bernardo. You can see a picture in the Stogies feed. You go to StogieGeeks.com, click the Stogies feed. I smoked the Toro, the Robusto, and the 60 ring, and all were very good, Will. So to kind of describe that whole story and still come back and say I was impressed with, given the number of cigars we review in any given day.
You were high on this, yeah.
Yeah. And so after I smoked through all the other sizes were really good. I like the Robusto the best, so I'm deeming this blend box-worthy, and I'm deeming the Robusto the belle of the ball because I don't know if that's all the sizes, but I smoked 3 of the sizes that were available to me, and the Robusto was by far the best. So I kind of put my order in when they come in to the store. We may have to do the transaction online, apparently, because apparently like it really is like online only. So like you may have to buy them and ship them here, which is kind of weird. But so I have my order for a box. Of Robustos when they come in.
So you put your money. So here's the thing: you put the money where the mouth was with that one. You liked it, and you get in a box.
Yeah, I'm going to buy a box. I mean, this is a great morning smoke, in my opinion. It's not Connecticut at all, but it has such a wonderful medium body, some nice wood notes, and some nice sweetness that is something that I would reach for in the morning. So I really, really liked it.
I'm going to piss off probably a lot of our brick and mortar friends, but there's a lot of good stuff right now going direct to consumer.
Yeah.
And Don Bernardo's doing it. Eddie Ortega's been making a push in that direction. Ezra Zion. There's a lot of companies now going in that direction. So this is something to watch. Is what I would say. I have mixed feelings about it. I hate saying that, but there is good stuff.
I love the experience at my retail shops and the brick and mortar stores. Yeah. I love the brick and mortar culture, the lounge, getting together with people, all the things we've talked about over the years, but as FDA starts to come into play, especially after August 8th, there's going to be some impact to the economics of cigars. I think we're going to see more of a shift to some of the online because it can save costs for all parties involved. So
yeah, I mean, distribution costs are high. I mean, I've talked to people about that. So it's something like, I know Sam Lucia, when he left General, he's now going direct to consumer. So I think it's something we're going to see more of. You're right.
I completely agree.
Yep.
Over to you, Will.
Well, good news. I'm going to make the brick and mortar people happy with this one. I smoked. This is a cigar that got launched at IPCPR by Rocky Patel, and I smoked it with Rocky Patel Saturday night when I got back. He was in Charlotte. Did you see the picture I sent?
I did. That was awesome.
With my shirt.
I love the shirt.
Yeah. Okay. But Rocky Patel has a cigar. It's called the Special Edition. He launched it at the show. It's a box press line, and it's only going to top tier brick and mortars. So you got to, I guess, be an account that's spending with Rocky Patel to get this. Don't know much about the blend other than, they're kind of keeping the blend close to the vest here, but it is there is a double binder, and Rocky was very, very proud of the tobaccos he put into this thing. Just basically saying, look, this was some of his best tobacco. He aged this, and he was guaranteeing I would like it. I mean, he was very confident. And they had it there at the event, and it is unbelievable. And Rocky Patel is a sponsor. This cigar was really, this one was a home run right out of the gate. It had notes of that coffee, white pepper that you come to expect from a Rocky Patel cigar. It had this little bit of a blackberry sweetness going with it, which I love on a cigar, but again, not overly. And it's a cigar that ramps up in strains, particularly in the last third. So it kind of starts out as a medium plus, and it heads into that full territory, which is something, again, I don't expect from a Rocky Patel cigar to do, to get up and spike like that. And, from talking to some other folks and kind of concurring with that, like I said, I really believe this is one of the better releases I've seen from Rocky. I'm not hesitating to give this a Chuck Norris rating right now.
That's awesome.
This is a home run by Rocky Patel. I think people are really going to be pleased with this cigar.
Well, here's kind of my Captain Obvious assessment of the situation. Will, when you get to be a larger manufacturer of the Rocky Patel caliber, you get up there in size in terms of access to tobacco that people like Padron and Fuente have. You can start to come up with some really interesting blends because you then have like this tobacco that you can kind of put on the shelf and sit on. It's kind of like with the whole podcast. Like I've been podcasting for 11 years, right? I mean, we've got boxes of podcast stuff that we've just accumulated, like cables. We don't have to go buy, like we've just accumulated it. And we can take some of that and piece some really cool things together, right? So we can find some interesting podcast solutions. But with a tobacco, you may have a couple bales here, and you can put together these really special kind of limited blends just because you've been doing it so long and you've grown to a point where you have access to that much tobacco. A lot of it's buying power, too. A lot of it's having farms and all that stuff. And so it doesn't surprise me that when Rocky says we're going to take this, and it sounds like it's a limited release, right? It's probably been produced.
Well, limited production. So it's not a one and done.
Right. So he only has so much. I mean, any cigar, you only have so much tobacco, but this might be a smaller because he's sourcing some special stuff that's been aging for a really long time, and you can only do that when you've been in the industry for so long and grown to the point where you have access to that stuff. So it doesn't surprise. Your rating actually doesn't surprise me, and I can't wait to try the cigar.
No, it's fantastic. He's growing a lot of the tobacco in there. I think some of the wrapper stuff he's sourcing. The other thing I'll point out about this particular release is it's made in his factory in Nicaragua. Now, Rocky Patel uses two factories. He has his own in Nicaragua, and then he basically has a portion of the Plasencia factory in Honduras that he has kind of run of the. And don't get me wrong, I've been to both factories. There's a focus on quality in those factories. I'll tell you that. For people who don't think that, there absolutely is. But in that Nicaraguan factory, it's got much more of a boutique feel to it. It's a smaller factory. You can be a lot more hands-on in terms of, and I think, so again, they have the raw materials there, but putting the end product together in that factory, I think that's where it's all coming together. I think Rocky Patel, the last 3 years, we're seeing the vertical integration pieces start to come together because there's been some really good releases over the last 3 years. And it's no surprise that in Cigar Aficionado today, they named Rocky Patel the #3 selling brand in the U.S. So I think, he's really starting to take off right now.
That's great. I smoked a Viaje C4, and this is one of the newer ones, Will.
Yep.
I remember C4, as we talked about with Andre, right, is that double-capped chocolate bar kind of thing that you had going on. This is the newer one, probably this year's release. I don't know. You
is that the one Andre? Yeah, okay, that's the one Andre. Yeah,
Andre
that's
sent
Andre.
this, yeah.
It's the 16 that's coming from PDR.
Yeah. And this is a Connecticut broadleaf wrapper on this one.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, and it just had those excellent broadleaf flavors, a good amount of body, a little bit of spice, a little bit of that kind of like chocolatey kind of feel to it. In the last third of the cigar, you talk about a cigar that amps up in strength. We just talk about it, right? This one really kicks it up into high gear in that final third and lets you know it's there. It kicks up in both flavor and in strength in a big way in that final third. I liked it. That final third was really, really overpowering for me. Like, wow. I was impressed with the way it was able to pick up. But it's good because it kind of shows a transition, right? And the next time I smoke it, I'll be ready for it.
Yeah.
But I call this one a 5er. I like this cigar.
I did it as box split, but I think we're close on that one. I did like that cigar a lot. I actually liked it without the double. I like the broadleaf version better. I think with that particular blend. But I felt they kept it. I don't know if you remember smoking some of the older C4s. I felt they kept it in the same wheelhouse. It was a different cigar, but it was in the same wheelhouse.
Yeah, I agree.
Except this one started out milder in terms of.
It did. It made you're right. It made a very sharp transition. Maybe that's why it kind of caught me off guard. Because it starts out almost like very medium, almost mild in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then just like it does that like bell curve on the strength and intensity meter. So.
Yeah.
Fun cigar to smoke.
Yep.
Back to you, Will.
Kind of keeping. This is kind of, I guess, a cigar. It's got its Cuban qualities to it, so to speak. But I smoked I went back and smoked the L'Atelier Maduro in the 54, the Lat 54 size. And it's a cigar I hadn't explored in a while. But I always liked the L'Atelier Maduros. I've always been a big fan of that cigar. I thought it, but I hadn't smoked it maybe in about 2 years. So I went back and smoked it. And why I kind of said that, it kind of reminds me of the Bahiques in terms of the bands. They kind of have those Bahique band looks. But it's a 4.5 by 54 Connecticut broadleaf with a Sancti Spiritus Nicaraguan binder, which is their signature tobacco they're using in all the Lateliers, and a Nicaraguan filler. And I think this one I probably had some age on this cigar. Great cigar. It hasn't lost anything. Probably, like I said, this one's probably about 2 years old. Classic Maduro profile, classic broadleaf, the cocoa chocolate notes, some nut flavor, a little red pepper in there. Nice complex smoke. It's a full-bodied smoke, so you get a lot of weight on the palate with that. I think the strength is in the medium to full range. Not one that's going to do a lot of radical transitions, but gives you some nice nuances. Loved the cigar when it came out a couple years ago. Still love it now. I bought a box of it 2 years ago. It maintains its box-worthy rating here. Love this cigar.
Nice. I smoked a Leaf by Oscar. And what struck me, that I haven't smoked one of these in a while, Will, and what really struck me was the packaging. Take that tobacco leaf and they wrap the whole cigar in the tobacco leaf. I found that the aroma from that leaf and the aroma that you get when you unwrap it is part of the experience of this cigar. And for that, I really liked it.
People have told me no about that. I'm glad you said that. People said it's in my head. I actually should have asked Island Jim that. I agree 1,000% with that.
I think it's a great part of the experience because you get that aroma, just like when you're drinking something or eating something, you want to get the aromas from it. And this just does a great job in that department. Now, the cigar itself is good, nice hints of chocolate, and it's a good smoke. I rated it a 5. I think it's a good cigar. It's a good Maduro cigar if you're a Maduro kind of smoker, you like that profile. I mean, this one's going to fit in your wheelhouse, and plus you get that added bonus of, I don't know if it changes the flavor or the taste of the cigar, but I liked the tobacco wrapped aspect of it.
Did you smoke the Lancero or did you smoke the...
No, this was like a 56 ring.
There's 60. If you might have
60, it might have been a 60. Yeah, it was a big ring kind of Toro. Might have been 6 by 60.
Yeah, so I thought I probably didn't send you no Lanceros, but yeah, the Lancero you got to try in that Maduro blend. It's when that leaf is around the Lancero, it is the ugliest looking thing. It is ugly. I mean, but it has a charm, and when you pull it off, and that Maduro and the Lancero has actually got a little bit of kick to it too.
Nice.
Yeah,
this was very medium because it was a 60. It was kind of medium bodied.
Yeah, I mean, and that's where I would put most of the other sizes in that line, probably right in the 5 range there.
Yeah, I agree. What else you been smoking, Will?
I actually went back and I smoked the EP Carrillo Short Run 2015. Now, preface, I didn't find any of these down where I was. Mm-hmm. I had smoked this beforehand. I actually smoked this right before my trip to Cuba. But the reason why I had smoked it is a lot of folks had said, go back and smoke the Short Run 15. It had gotten a lot better. So I had already, and I had actually, then I smoked it recently and I liked it a lot, but I didn't really, when I smoked it recently, I really didn't have enough to do a review on it. So I went and smoked another one again. This one was the Toro size, called the Vencedores. It's got a Jalapa Criollo wrapper, which you don't see Ernesto do a lot of cigars with that type of wrapper. A Nicaraguan binder and a Nicaraguan and Dominican filler, and this is the 6x52. Like the cigar a lot. I definitely think it got better. It definitely has a nice earthy cedar notes to it, a little bit of coffee maybe in there. There's a creamy undertone that smooths out things early on, but I think as you get into the second half, the cigar gets a little more, loses some of that smoothness, but it's still pretty good. I'm not ready to put this cigar up there with the first 4 short runs from 2010 to 13, which I thought were epic. But what this was is when I smoked this last year, it was a 5er. I could say now that this cigar has a little more age on it, and I felt it moved to box split territory, where I think it's going to stay.
I think you're right with the box split rating. I bought a box of Robustos of this cigar, and I kind of felt that the wrapper's really dark, and it can almost be. Do you think this went through like a Maduro kind of fermentation process?
I wondered that if it was something that was maybe just fermented longer, but they're not calling it Maduro.
Yeah, it's interesting how they just call it the Criollo 98
But
wrapper.
right. But you can't have Ecuadorian Criollo Maduro, or you can Maduro any wrapper, but this is definitely a darker wrapper.
Yeah. I found it didn't have that kind of Maduro richness to it.
No.
To me, it has more of like a spice and a punch to it.
In the second half, especially when it kind of the spice kicks up a little more with it, I would agree.
Yeah, these to me just require some age. I think they're going to just get better with age. I bought a box actually on closeout, believe it or not, from a shop. And I really like smoking them. And as I smoke them, they tend to get a little better with more age on them. Like I smoke a couple and I'm like, yeah, needs a little more age. So I think this is one that you put your investment in now, and then you're going to see the benefits a year from now, in 2 to 3 years or more. What I can say about Ernesto stuff, that because I've had access to Ernesto stuff since day one from local shops here in Rhode Island, all of his stuff ages just magnificently. I think every single one of his sticks will, that I've bought early on, even the stuff that's not really super strong when it comes out, like his original core. I have a box of his original core line that's signed. Those things are still smoking awesome. So they don't age out. And we're going back to 2009, 2010 when he made his initial releases. Even the inaugural 2009, people still like that cigar. I thought that was the only one that may have lost a little punch over time, but that wasn't blended to be super strong either. And I think as a whole, everything he's put out ages really super well. Even I smoked some of the older short runs recently, Will. Even some of the new wave stuff. It doesn't age out for me. It always has this great characteristic of smoking it, which is something I find unique in the industry today.
Those core lines, they're done. So that blend has been retired, and it's now going. It's a different blend. It's being called Core Line Plus. So if you have those, or if you start seeing those in the store, you may start. I'm not saying this could be the case, but they may be on closeout right now.
Yep.
Because the new Core Plus has different packaging, and typically a retailer doesn't want to keep the old one around. Those could be some real gems to pick up for people. And I agree with you on that. I didn't think Core Line Maduro aged out, though. That's the one I think, the one cigar I felt, and along with the inaugural, I'd agree. But most of the other stuff, I mean, look at the Dark Rituals. I mean, look and I was a little lukewarm on the Dark Rituals at first. But what that cigar ended up becoming was fantastic. New Wave Reserva. When those things age.
I'm on my. I have a little problem actually with the New Wave Reserva in that I can't buy enough of them, and when I do buy them, they don't last long enough for me when I buy a box because I smoke them so much. Will, I have to say, out of all cigars that I smoke, the one that I might come back to the most is that New Wave Reserva Toro. I must smoke one of those a few times a week in the morning at least, maybe more. And that blend right now is smoking. Oh, I just bought another box, Will, the other day.
Well,
it's just amazing.
So that blend's staying, but
That's
the packaging's changing. So
That's
again,
fine. As long as the cigar's staying the same, I'm good.
You might see some retailers look to clear it out just because they don't want that, the new packaging's beautiful.
Hey, if you're a retailer and you want to close that out, you give me a call. Send me an email, paul@stogiegeeks.com. I'll help you clear that stuff out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but that wrapper, I know Ernesto was when I saw Ernesto, he was talking about that wrapper he sourced for that thing, and that's really what makes that cigar. The Connecticut wrapper he got for that cigar is very special.
Yep, it is.
And it is, and that's why that has become. I mean, it's one of your favorites. I enjoy that cigar. I probably don't smoke it as much as you do, but it's a very good cigar.
Well, I smoked what I want to say is an Ashton ESG 21-year salute. I might get that wrong though. It was a perfecto shaped cigar. It's in the Stogie feed. I don't think you've had a chance to look at it yet.
I have not.
I didn't take a picture of the price tag, which had the name on it. It's what's the perfecto size? Is that a 24, 25-year salute?
I'm just taking it. I'm gonna look it up real quick.
Yeah,
'cause I
want to get.
it's the 24. It's the
24. I would.
Yeah, it's the 24. It's the 6 5/8 by 47.
Oh, is this it? This is fantastic, Will. I loved this cigar. It's a little pricey, but when I looked at the price tag, I was like, wow, that's kind of pricey. And then I smoked it, and I'm like, oh, boy, that's kind of worth the price of admission right there. Hints of caramel, wood, perfectly balanced. And the thing that got me about this cigar that really fed into the high rating that I gave the cigar was it's awesome from start to finish and just makes all these subtle changes from start to finish. But it holds your attention the entire, like there's no part of the cigar that you're smoking you're like, yeah, I'm kind of getting bored. Like there is no boredom associated with this cigar. It is just phenomenal in high gear all the way through, which is one of the reasons why it deserves a 4.5 fight Chuck Norris form rating on the Ashton 24-year salute. Great cigar, Will.
To me, that cigar's Fuente. I mean, I know it's Ashton, but it's a classic Fuente.
Yeah.
It's not Opus X. I'm not saying it's Opus X, but there's a lot of just Fuente-esque qualities of that cigar. I actually, you know which one I like? The 22, which was the Torpedo.
Yeah.
I enjoy that. But this cigar, the ESG, I find people, they tend to dismiss it, and I think because of the price, it's not a cheap cigar. But again, and I think it's compared to the VSG, which is also unfair. This is a really good cigar.
Yeah, they did a nice job blending this, and I know we don't probably talk about Ashton as much as we probably should in terms of their portfolio, but this ESG is really special, and I think I like this better than any other ESG that I've smoked, and they've got 5 releases of the ESG. Will?
There's 5.
5, right?
Yep. They go from 20 to 24.
Yeah.
And they did the 24 about 2.5 to 3 years ago, I want to say. They haven't had one. I mean, I thought maybe they'd get the 25-year out one before FDA, but who knows if they did or not.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
When was this cigar released? A couple of years ago, then.
Yeah, 2014 is when it really started hitting the stores.
My guess is this was probably sitting around in the shop's humidor and then my humidor since release, because it smoked like it was well aged in the humidor.
Actually, it's 2013.
Yeah, this has been sitting around probably.
Yeah,
for
so
3
it
years.
got released late in 2013. So yeah,
it had the benefit of age. So if you find these now, I'm telling you, you got to try one.
Yeah.
Even at that price tag, you're definitely gonna at least buy one. I think you're going to be really impressed. Forget what you think about ESG. Forget what you think about Ashton. Smoke the cigar. I'm telling you, it's got my stamp of approval.
It's one of those cigars too. This blend, it's blended to the sizes, so they're all going to have a different feel to it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Back to you, Will.
Going into my Cuba part, I'll talk about a Cuban cigar I had. This is the Partagas 170 Aniversario. This is a cigar that was done by it was a custom roll cigar done at the old Partagas factory. Now, let me just kind of say, the old Partagas factory is closed, okay? So it's more of a shop right now. It's more of a tourist place. But they do have a roller her name is La China, and her name is spelled La China, but it's pronounced La China. She's a very famous roller in the Cuban circles, and she did a cigar for the Habanos Festival to commemorate Partagas's 170th anniversary, which is 1845. So this was last year. So she did a 170 Anniversario that now is sold as a custom roll house blend cigar in the old Partagas factory. What's a little different about this cigar is it's actually banded as well. And they sell for 5 Cuban kooks a piece. And Cuban kook to dollar is almost 1-to-1. So this is a $5 cigar. outstanding cigar. Here's what I liked about this cigar. It's got a Cuban strength and body profile. It's like that mild to medium, the medium minus. Kind of the body will build up towards medium, but so it's not going to go off the charts. What I like about this is we talk about that Cuban twang, but the Cuban twang is diminished here. It's not overpowering the rest of the blend, but it's present. And it helps a lot of the other flavors shine. You get some of those classic Cuban, grassy notes. You get some of the earth notes. There's a subtle spice that's in there. That it's not an overpowering spice. Even a little bit of a cocoa note here and there. So I mean, what I like, but it had that Cuban twang, which I do like, but I just don't like when it overpowers the cigar. I love this. This was an excellent cigar. I found this a box worthy cigar. I bought a lot of these again for 5 kooks where. Yeah, you could do the math. I got them in legally, so is what I could just say. One of the best values I found in Cuba, and it's not something you only can get it at this Partagas store.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I can't wait to.
Wait, one more story about that, Paul. So when we went there, we went there the first day. We wanted to buy a whole bunch of them, but it was late in the day. Well, we had to basically put an order in for these and go back to the store the next day to pick them up. So she had to roll. She had to roll them, yeah. She had to roll them, yeah. So the other thing I'll say is you want to let these sit a little bit because again they are fresh rolled off the table. But they're probably in the sick period right now. But when I smoked it, was right off the table. So because she had rolled it that day. I can't wait to smoke one. Yeah, you'll really like this cigar. So I smoked a Romeo by Romeo and Julieta aging room in the Capriccio size. That's the Toro? It is 6 by 54. Yep, that's the Toro. Yeah, and it was interesting. The packaging was very ornate on this cigar. For a Romeo and Julieta, a lot of them just carry the single band on it. Yeah. This one, it was a band. There was gold, and it had all this ornate kind of paper. It was like kind of unwrapping a Christmas present when I unwrapped it. Yep. This is a Dominican Puro, described as full-bodied, and it was pretty full-bodied when I smoked it. I would agree with that kind of marketing assessment on the strength. For me, though, the person that gave this to me said these were kind of limited. These were kind of like special Romeo and Julieta. There was a one-time run of this cigar done. Yeah. But there was a lot. There was a lot of them done. There was about 250,000 done of these. That's a limited run for them, right? For Altus. That's a limited run for Altus. For Raphael, it's probably huge. But yeah. So what's interesting was the person that gave it to me kind of set my expectations kind of high. However, this one just it didn't pop for me. It was a good cigar, Will. It was a good full-bodied cigar. I enjoyed it. There weren't a lot of change-ups, but it had some good flavor. But it never popped for me. I kept waiting for something to happen, and it didn't. So I think this is what I rated a try one. Really? Yeah, this was a try one for me. I don't know if you smoked this one yet. I liked it. I would say somewhere between right now. I think they smoke somewhere between a 5er and a box. But I did like them. But there's other cigars I like by both the Romeo line and Raphael better. Yeah, I would agree. It goes back to what Steve Saka said. I mean, sorry, Raphael. I hope he's not hearing this, but about collaborations. Mm-hmm. They don't always work. This was a collaboration between Raphael Nodal and Grupo de Maestros at Altas. Gotcha. So they came. I think the thing is they went down to Raphael's factory at Tabacalera Palma, but they brought the Altas people in. So yeah. Yeah. Well, back to you, Will. Smoked. Okay, I got a couple of Roma crafts. I'll talk about one of them at a time. I smoked the Whiskey Rebellion. Have you heard of this cigar? This is Skip's. This is Skip Martin's cigar. I think I saw him posted it on Facebook. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So originally, this cigar was a cigar that he did for the guys at Cigar Dojo. It was in a 5x50 Robusto. And they basically, it's a new blend that he's done. It's got an Ecuadorian Habano Ligero wrapper, an Indonesian binder, and Dominican and Nicaraguan fillers. He did this for Dojo. It was sold through Famous. And Dave Burke pings me and he asked me to buy him the box because he wasn't going to get it shipped to Australia. So I ended up getting some of the cigars out of the box from him. And I'm sorry I didn't buy a box for myself for this one.
Really? Interesting.
Okay. Now, the good news is, because Dojo sold these cigars out in like an hour. And he had there was a pretty large amount of cigars there were 500 boxes that were done. He put these out for pre-sale. It didn't even make it to regular sale. So they were gone quick. Now, the good news is that Roma Craft is brought back the Whiskey Rebellion. It's not a Dojo exclusive. It's now going to be an exclusive line to Famous Smoke Shop. So the good news is about that. There's going to be like 5 sizes. They did retire the Dojo size though.
I see.
So the Dojo size is was just that 5
for him. Yeah.
Right. So, but the good news is, I would definitely. This is a great cigar. So here's what I'm just going to summarize with this cigar: take Aquitaine and take Intemperance BA and put it together like a Reese's peanut butter cup.
Yummy.
And that's what I got with this cigar. I mean, it was fantastic. It just clicked on every cylinder, and it's one of the best cigars that Skip has done.
Wow, that's saying something.
It really is. I'm curious to try some of these the 5 new sizes they have out, and I'm glad it's coming out. I gave this a Fight Chuck Norris.
Nice.
Like I said, I could give you a whole review. The review is take that Aquitaine, take that BA, put them together like a Reese's peanut butter, because you get the best of both. And when I looked at the blend, it kind of had the blends. I don't want to say it's a amalgamation of it, but it has the Indonesian binder that I know that BA has, and it has the Ecuadorian wrapper, which I know.
And which size did you smoke, Will?
The 5x50 for Dojo. It's the Dojo size.
Oh, you smoked the Dojo size. Okay.
Yep. So very, very, very good cigar. But like I said, I'm gonna get some. There's the 5 other sizes. There's a 4.5x50 they did. They did a 5x50, but that's more of a perfecto.
Mm-hmm.
And then they did a 4x46, a 5x56, and a 5.5x54.
I want to try those.
That I think good. I have a couple of these left. I went through a lot of these with them. Skip knocked this one out of the park. Knocked this one out of the park with this one. It's I gave one to Stogie Santa. I have not heard his review on it yet.
Oh, interesting.
But I gave one to him at IPCPR when he was basically, at the bar or slobbering, right? But he remembered. He goes, "Did you bring my Whiskey Rebellion?" I said, "It's upstairs." He goes, "Don't worry about it," right? I said, "No, you'll be here." So I went upstairs and got it for him. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hopefully he still has it.
Hopefully, yeah. That's what I'm concerned with, because the Dojo ones aren't anywhere to be found anymore. That's why that size is nowhere to be found.
So I've been longing to smoke this cigar for a long time, probably a good 7 years, ever since I first saw him in the catalogs, and I wanted to try pre-embargo Cuban tobacco because I thought this was the mecca of cigar smoking would be to smoke pre-embargo tobacco. So this is tobacco from, in the Camacho's case, the Camacho Preembargo, and it has 1962 on the band. And we talked with Christian about this when we interviewed him on the Stogie Geeks a while back. And I think I really wanted to love this cigar just because I've always wanted to, it's like one of those things you've always wanted to try. And then when you do, it can be met with mixed success. And I wanted to love this cigar. And when I tried it, I liked it, but I didn't love it. And I don't know if I can't really describe it. I mean, the flavors were it was interesting because the flavors were kind of all over the map. It almost didn't know what it wanted to do with itself. In that respect, it smoked very differently, but never really melded together to be what we would deem as balanced, and that's why I just liked the cigar and didn't love it.
Which cigar was this again?
Camacho Preembargo.
It's what it's actually called.
Yeah. This has been around for a while. This is a gift from Big Pete, who's in the studio on the other side. So thank you, Pete. I smoked it. I liked it, but I didn't love it.
Interesting.
Do you have more on your list, Will?
I got another one.
Let's do it.
I'll talk about this other Cuban next week, but I'll only talk about Skip's other cigar.
Okay.
So Skip came out with another cigar called the Gormiro. Okay, the Guamiro was a cigar he brought out at the trade show, and he's not distributing it through Roma Craft, which I thought was interesting. And I don't understand why he's not distributing it with Roma Craft. I'm sure he's got his reasons, but that's not really important. It's really the cigar that's important. It's because it's a cigar coming out of his factory, Nica Sueño, and it's a cigar done by his master blender, Esteban Diesla. So it's Esteban's blend that's coming out. And I actually I was when I was down in Miami, I actually ran into Hector at one of the local cigar stores that actually is a boutique cigar. There's like one or two of them in Miami, right? And Hector goes, "You got to try this Guamiro, the Esteban cigar." They had it in, and so I went and smoked it. This cigar is here's what was struck me about this cigar, and I really liked it, but I never thought I'd like it. Wrappers, San Andreas, the binders, Brazilian Arapiraca, and it's a filler of Nicaraguan Dominican. I mean, Mexican and Brazilian Arapiraca, to me, they're the ones that, and I've come around, I know, on the Mexican, but in general, I just see that as oil and water, or two oils that don't. I never would have thought, but whatever Esteban and Nica Sueño did with that particular, getting that blend to work, oh my goodness, it is a beautiful cigar. It's not a cigar that's going to transition a lot in terms of flavor transitions. It's got a nice dark chocolate note to it. It's got a little bit of that Maduro sweetness, which is like the tobacco, with a little bit of that black cherry, and very faint black cherry, very, very faint. I mean, but just enough to just put a touch of sweetness in there. There's some earthy notes. There's a wonderful black pepper on the retrohale, and it's smooth on the palate. So it's got that creamy. It's not a cream flavor, but it's a creamy undertone in terms of keeping it. And it's and towards the latter part of that cigar, it gets a little more rugged. The spice increases. It's a full-bodied smoke, so especially when you retrohale the cigar, it's full-bodied, and it's I'd say it's medium to full in strength, and I think it's really, really good now, and I think it's got aging potential down the line. I spoke to 5x52 Robusto, $7.25. I'm going to give Skip and Esteban a box worthy on this one. So I know this cigar is starting to make its way out to stores, and it's coming out of Nica Sueño, and that's, who's distributing it's not as important as who's making it, in my opinion here. But it's a great cigar. Definitely, it's another one I got to get in Stogie Santa's hands to see what he thinks.
Yeah, we can get Stogie Santa back here in the studio at some point. It's been too long since he's been here in the studio.
Well, yeah, I know Monday. I think he does work the shop Mondays, which has been a little. But we've talked.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, but we definitely, we got to put some rum down there or something.
He likes the martinis that we make. We just got a fresh supply of martini making ingredients, so maybe we can bribe him. He can pound 3 martinis and be drunk, funny, and interesting.
Well, the funny thing, no, I know. We just did our weekly. He didn't know I was in Cuba, so he was worried, like I wasn't getting back. to him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because you were like incommunicado, right?
Well, and I didn't point this out. There's only 20 to 30 internet cafes in the whole country, and you have to buy these cards. So I only logged onto the internet once.
Wow.
So normally Stogie Sandra and we have a weekly debriefing on what we've smoked. And I obviously I didn't pick up the call for him, and he was getting concerned. He thought I was mad at him, maybe, but no. I said, look, no phone.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I've got some other smokes which I'll cover next week. I did smoke this new Padron size, which I really like, which is the TAA size, which they've released to the market. Is that what I understand?
Yeah, it was a size that came out for the TAA last year, but now they have taken. Would you smoke the Maduro or the natural?
This was the Maduro.
Okay, so the Maduro's out. That's it. Yep.
And then I smoked one of those ones from Dram. You sent those to me like a long time ago, and I apologize to folks that make the cigars because I haven't had a chance to review them. They're ones that you should enjoy with whiskey or scotch, and they kind of tell you like what you should pair it with, like right on the band, which I thought was fantastic. But I'd always go to review it in like the middle of the day, and I'm like, I can't start drinking scotch now; it'll be a hot mess. So I finally smoked one. today and kind of threw the pairing with Scotch out the window and just kind of I did the pairing in my mind. Have you ever seen the movie Hero with Jet Li and Donnie Yen where they have the fight in their mind? I did the pairing in my mind, and I thought it was very good. So you'll find a full review of that.
Did you smoke the Connecticut or?
It was the number 2. I don't think it was it wasn't the. I don't think it was the Connecticut.
That's. I think it's the Corojo.
I think that would make sense. Yeah.
The good news is that Rene Castaneda from Villiger sent us cigars when he was with Dram. So
okay.
So I guess he's not mad at us now, but yeah, that's good.
Yeah, sorry for there was a little bit of delay on that just because of logistics issues.
But it's funny how, and I feel bad. You get these cigars, and I have probably stuff I haven't gotten to either, and it's a human process. Is all I can tell people.
Right.
I don't. Yeah. So it happens.
Yeah, and so I'll be smoking. Will's going to send me a bunch of stuff to smoke, both from the show and from Cuba, so that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you have Davidoff de Masas coming by. I know I got there's a couple of other Davidoffs. There's some EPC stuff, so there's quite a bit that you'll have their pick from, definitely.
Yeah, you'll see a lot of fresh reviews coming on the Stogie Geeks, especially in the next couple of weeks as we work our way through all of the new blends that were released at IPCPR, which is quite a good amount. So,
and all the blends we got all these samples prior to August 8th. So,
That's it.
Did you? Yeah, I mean, I have one of Steve Saka's actually the coffin one I have. So waiting for me at a store. So that's gonna be coming up as well. I'll be doing a full review of Mi Querida from Steve.
I like that. I like that one a lot. I smoked that when Steve was here, and I've smoked other ones since. I really like that one.
Did he gave you one of the other? I know he gave you one of the other ones.
Yeah, I haven't smoked that one yet either.
Yeah, I'm curious because that one it didn't make its way down by me, but the coffin one did.
Yeah, he only gave me one of those. So.
Yeah, so I think I got some stuff from Villiger coming up. I mean, the reviews on Coop have been slower because we're still going through the IPCPR debriefing. There's so much that was released, so that should be wrapping up like in the next week or so. So you'll start seeing much more reviews on that, but the reviews get lost this time of the year. So,
well, thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see everyone next week on the Stogie Geek Show.